I'm Dr. Brandon Trull, owner of Trull Family Pharmacy in Waverly, Tennessee. Waverly is about an hour and a half west of Nashville, Tennessee. We just celebrated being open 3 years, so we are still relatively young, but the community has absolutely poured out so much support and encouragement. As a lot of people do, on their cell phones, they get alerts, whether there's a tornado or a hurricane or whatever's coming. And like a million times before, I'd received multiple alerts just saying flash flooding. I had a friend who his parents own a hardware store here in town, and he said, "Do you mind running by their house and just checking their house out? Because we're hearing there's flooding going on." And I pulled in their driveway, saw the water starting to rise a little bit, and literally within 60 seconds of me taking a picture, my truck began to move in their driveway. And I began to reverse. I got stuck under some debris, and I had to actually drive through their yard just to get out before the waters started pushing my truck even more. And from that point on, it was just absolute chaos. Electricity went out everywhere in town. Cell phone towers went out. There was no communication. I couldn't call my wife to let her know everything was okay. I put on my boots and ran to down East Main. It was, I met up with a friend that was watching his parents' house across the street. And his parents were upstairs. He couldn't get to them because we were basically separated by the only way I could describe it is, if you've ever been whitewater rafting, it was like rapids separating us from getting to them. The waters receded enough that a boat was able to basically tie a rope that we could get to the boat and then tie a rope to get to their house and get them out. And so we basically just spent the rest of the day going house to house, getting people out of their house, carrying dogs out of the water and just getting them to safety. And so it was certainly a day I will never forget. This happened on Saturday. By Sunday, they had us set up with generators and lights shining in our pharmacy just enough that we could see, get our computers running. One of the things we were able to do, we have a wonderful relationship with our health department nurse practitioners. And so they were able to call us and prescribe medicine for cuts and antibiotics and blood pressure medicine and all these just acute medication needs and chronic medication needs that these patients weren't able to get out with. And being a small town, and I know other pharmacists can relate to having patients pass away from COVID and having to deal with that and the demand of COVID vaccines and COVID testing and all that go into COVID. And then to layer that with this monumental event that you could never imagine happening, this absolute catastrophe where we lost 20 lives. And it's not so much a change in our business as it is, we've also had to turn to be an emotional hub, if that makes sense, of not just filling medication, but praying with people, just hugging people. I'm glad we're here. I'm glad God put us in this position at this place to be able to love on this community. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.